We got more news to get to, and we start with the reason why Edge and Finn Balor's match at Royal Rumble was postponed. And the reason is because Edge had been off filming a movie or filming a TV show for Disney Plus, and the fact of the matter is he had not been able to be on WWE programming leading into the event. So that is why they just went the route that they did, and I think that this way, this can lead to an intergender tag team match of sorts at Elimination Chamber, and then the blow off at WrestleMania between Edge and Finn Balor, ending what has been a very meaty, lengthy feud and a lot of long-term storytelling. But I think that Edge will be here for the remainder of the year, so it is a question of, do you have Balor win and set the bar as Edge starts walking out the door, or do you have Edge win and keep him with some momentum as he is going to be here for the remainder of the year? Or a majority of the year, I should say, because he did mention retiring when WWE returns to Toronto. So I don't know if that's going to happen later this year or when it will happen. But whenever it does, I think that will or should be factored into WWE's plan for Edge's momentum and booking leading into what could be his retirement match. Or what could be a retirement match. Speaking of WrestleMania, though, a big sponsorship match is planned. Not much is known about it, but I've heard multiple avenues that it could possibly not be a match similar to what we saw at the Royal Rumble, but more a match just where logos and stuff are, logos and, they push the certain advertisement and yada 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 are the focus of the ring mat. Sort of like we see in UFC where, the mat has advertisements for, or branding for, Nike and Tap Out and, brands like that. So it could be something similar to that, or it could be something similar to what we saw at the Royal Rumble, with the pitch black match. But I will know when I know more. You guys will know more, as it always goes. Also, Triple H has went on record to say, I don't know if he's went on record to say, but he, according to company officials, Triple H has said that he does not see Sami Zayn as a WrestleMania main eventer. And I'm not going to say I don't see Sami as a WrestleMania main eventer. I see him as one of the hottest people in the company and somebody that's getting the biggest reactions in the company. So I think if you rode the hot hand, anybody could be a WrestleMania main eventer. It's just that from the standpoint of WrestleMania and the standpoint of, the biggest money match being the WrestleMania main event, I don't know if you can say that Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is a big money match or more of a money match than Sami versus Roman at Elimination Chamber, because is it a bigger money match to have Sami versus Roman at Elimination Chamber because that is Sami's hometown? So I think using that logic, it could be something where you sit there and say, yes, WWE is right to have Sami versus Roman at Elimination Chamber. It's just that some fans are disappointed about the fact that Sami could be WWE champion and isn't, WWE isn't capitalizing on the momentum of Sami as big as they should, or as much as they should, sort of like they did on Kofi Mania a few years ago. And I could see that. I could see it from that standpoint. I completely agree. But Triple H, the one thing Triple H has done since the start of his tenure as the head of creative is he's made sure that the other championships, the perception of the other championships is improved and viewed as more important. So, from that standpoint, having Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win the tag team titles would raise the stock of the tag team titles and do something that WWE has needed to do for years, and that's make the tag team titles be perceived as more important. Which, in my opinion, is something that WWE has needed to do and hasn't done for a very long time. And it is also one of the reasons why WWE should keep the titles under one tag team and not look to break them up again. I have no problem with the idea of them going the route of trying to increase the intrigue and they could lose one title instead of both. Yeah, I have no problem with that, but the idea of breaking the titles up again and splitting them up to two separate championships, I think that would do more harm than good for the championship belts. Because WWE's tag team division is not deep enough for WWE to have two separate titles, in my opinion. But I think that is one of the things that we need to wait and see what happens as far as that's concerned. Speaking in the recent stockholder or shareholders call or investors call, Nick Khan did say that it was, I think, for regulatory reasons that WWE was not able to go about their business earlier in the year, specifically with the international tour of India like they had planned. But once the regulatory issues are done, as we mentioned in a previous news video, I do believe it was something regarding Sony 6 and, merger with WWE's international distributor in India. That, basically some issues, once the issues are set aside and taken care of, WWE has every intention of going to India and doing that international tour that they had planned earlier in the year. I believe the plan was to do it right before the Royal Rumble, but because of, as Nick Khan said, regulatory issues, plans changed. But, I think from off the top of my head, WWE's next visit to Saudi Arabia is set to be in May. So I think that even if regulatory issues are done, it would be where WWE still splits up the international tours and does not do one international tour right after the other, because it would just be too much on the talent and production and everybody to go to India and the Middle East within a very short window. So I do think maybe if Saudi Arabia is set to take place in May, that India could go late summer, early fall, maybe. That is, again, if Saudi Arabia is set to take place in May. Again, I just want to point out that we do have the normal preview video set for AEW Rampage later tonight, and also MLW Super Fight and NXT Vengeance Day tomorrow. So it is going to be an action-packed couple of days of content for your viewing pleasure. But the big news that I saved for the end is that that Nick Khan was asked during the investor call yesterday if Vince McMahon would step down from the company or would leave WWE, and Nick Khan said irrefutably Vince McMahon would walk away from WWE if it gives shareholders the most value after a sale. But the takeaway is that Vince would leave WWE after a sale if it gives shareholders the most value. And Nick Khan made it clear that they are looking for a potential suitor that knows WWE's product and is in the media game. Those were the two main takeaways, in my opinion, which honestly I think that may or may not take some suitors or potential suitors out, unless, I don't know how well Endeavor, for example, knows the WWE product, but if they pair up with, say, another suitor that may know WWE's product a little bit better, would that change things for Endeavor? I think so. I do believe so. But that's the thing. It's like I don't know. I don't really look at Endeavor as a media rights company either. So again, unless they pair up with a media rights company, would that take Endeavor out of the WWE of being a potential suitor for WWE? I think that the reality of the situation is, it is something we won't know until more news about the situation comes to light, because we can't just speculate. But it is very interesting and a pleasant surprise, I guess you could say, with how Vince has handled himself in the last couple of months, that basically he would be willing to step aside from the company if it gives shareholders the best value for a potential sale, which, again, the summertime, by SummerSlam, it is still rumored that WWE would be sold to the highest bidder. But again, I will let you guys know more about that information when I find out more about that information, so you guys don't have to know so you guys don't have to do the research on your own, and I can sift through the information so you don't have to. But again, I will see you guys a little bit later tonight for a preview of AEW Rampage, because it's Friday, and you know what that means. So until next time, I will see you in the next video.